Well, we just manta boarded pretty much along the whole breakers, and it's bullshit amazing.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Barefoot Captain. It is day 26 continued. You know what, the best laid plans you might make will always be completely squashed by the weather, the wind and the waves out here. They are really the ones in charge, and they told us we are not allowed to leave Kenn Reef just yet. A big storm rolled in and the wind came in from the side that we weren't protected. We were on one side of the reef on the outside, and we weren't protected on that side, so I had to let out more chain. Up near the island, I think. Up near the island, but I'm going to need you on the bow.
You can't take us back through to the
anchorage? Definitely not. Don't want wind up my ass. That'll really fuck. 4.5 meters.
Are we holding?
Yeah, we are. And we really had to do a bit of a night watch for a while just to make sure things didn't go wrong. And after that, once the storm had finally passed, we were just too exhausted to leave. And so I made the call. We stay that night and we look at the conditions the next morning. Well, we woke up and conditions were exceptional. That storm had completely stripped all that energy out of the atmosphere, and it was beautiful and flat, calm. Absolutely gorgeous weather, and this is what we've been hoping for over a week. We desperately wanted weather like this to go and explore the seaward side of Kenn Reef, and so I just can't ignore that the next 6 to 8 hours are going to be exceptional weather to get out there and dive. And I know that there's 3 big shipwrecks on that seaward side of Kenn Reef that I desperately want to check out.
Now where's the anchors that are on the reef?
Where that little yellow dot is. Okay.
This one?
Oh, this is a tough decision.
I think somewhere in between here. Let's make that 5 meters then, and then we have an S and 5 meters, easy.
Alright, we ready to go?
So first, we got the dinghy out. We took the dinghy round to the seaward side to go and see if we could find these locations. I had a rough idea where they must be, but a rough idea is still hundreds and hundreds of meters out. And so we needed a way to cover a lot of ground and quickly, and manta boarding is always the best way to do that. Don't go too hardcore, really. I'm gonna try and put you in the right line, in the right place where we think the wrecks are. And you just look and dive down every so often and look around. We all took turns diving down and exploring the reef edges, ducking in and out of crevices, and looking for the telltale signs of a big shipwreck. There's like 5 or 6 anchors down there and a whole lot of iron bars and keel bolts and stuff like that. all strewn over in this spot here. So we'll mark this and we'll see if we can find the others. Once I had the location of the shipwrecks, I wasted no time. We got the dinghy back on Barefoot. We lifted anchor and got round to the seaward. Just man-aboarded all the way along the foot and part way up the ankle, and then we came in. So we've done miles and miles and miles of man-aboarding and found a bunch of anchors in some different spots.
We can see you came out from the other side where we expected you.
Yeah,
You went right around, did you?
So we
went all
went
the way around.
right along the heel of the foot and then up.
but all the man-aboarding we did was shallow. So we'll have something to eat and then we'll go out and we'll do a deeper run. It's supposed to be more stuff deeper. We just stayed in the sort of 3, 4, 5 meter range. Okay, bridle please. And it's amazing, once you first get in there, there's these 3 big anchors looking up at you. 3 huge Admiralty anchors. It is no doubt a big old shipwreck. You can see it. There's also big iron anchor stock sitting there and iron framing from the ship, which means that this is a composite ship. It was made of timber and iron. And also there was 2 carronades. They're the piece de resistance of finding a shipwreck, to find its cannon. That is super cool. And one of these carronades looks perfectly perched up there on a coral concretion. It's kind of cemented in there in the coral. It was probably once covered in sediment and sand, and that's all been washed away, and it's kind of concreted there in place, sitting perfectly perched like it's ready to fire, like it could fire again, ready if it was ever needed. Now just in front of that carronade are all the gutters, and they're completely littered with these bright green bolts and rivets, clinch pins. Now another really curious item in this wreck site is this. It's a really weird little artifact. It's a type of flapper valve, but it's too small and the wrong shape to be a bilge pump flapper valve. And Silent World was here in 2017, and they're pretty sure that this valve was from one of the very first ship's toilets ever to be built. It was called a ship's water closet, and it was basically a very early marine toilet. One of the anchors is so beautiful to film. It's picked in perfectly across this coral gutter like a bridge or an ornate coral arch. It looks so cool. Both its flukes are dug in on each side and its shank is broken. It was probably the anchor they dropped when they first hit the reef, and as the ship writhed and turned and shifted around, it probably wrenched the stock right off it. Now this had to be a really, really big ship. You know, some of these anchors are 3 meters long. That's 9 feet. They're huge. They would weigh tons. They are so big. I can see that some of the artifacts are spread out. You know, there's anchors here and anchors there in the carronades, but you know, something tells me that maybe this isn't just one ship. There's so much here that it could be more than one shipwreck. You know, what's the chances of, over the years, more than one ship hitting in exactly the same location on Kenn Reef? It's quite possible. There are so many shipwrecks here. There's so much stuff going on in this one place. I don't know if it's just one ship. Now I'm so stoked that we got to stay here another day at Kenn Reef. This was exceptional. One of the most amazing days we've had out here. So beautiful and calm, and I'm going to remember this for a long time. to hoping we have fair winds and following seas all the way across to New Caledonia and then hop over to Vanuatu. And of course, if you've been loving our expeditions, please head across to Patreon. We love our patrons. They make everything we do totally possible. We'd love you to head across there. And even for a tiny amount, you get the next bunch of episodes before anyone else. You get to see all them, and you get all our diary cams. You get all the uncut vision of what we're doing. You get a real insight into our adventure, more than anyone else gets to see. Well, hope you've enjoyed this extra Barefoot Captain's log. See you later on. It's Barefoot Captain signing off. You.